Tonight, when you set your alarm for tomorrow morning, you're not just planning your day. You might be going to war with 300,000 years of human biology. And the strange part? Most people never question it. They just assume that waking up early means discipline, success, control. But what if that idea isn't ancient wisdom at all? What if it's something much newer, something designed for a completely different world? For almost all of human history, there was no such thing as 7 a.m. No alarms, no fixed schedules, no identical mornings. Humans didn't wake up early, they woke up naturally. Their lives were guided by something far older than any clock ever invented: light, darkness, and an internal rhythm written into every cell of their bodies. When the sun went down, the world didn't just get dim, it disappeared. For our ancestors, night wasn't an aesthetic, it was absolute. A darkness so complete you couldn't see your own hand in front of your face. And in that darkness, something remarkable happened. They slept. But not the way you do, not in one long, uninterrupted block. Instead, they followed a pattern that modern science only rediscovered recently. It's called segmented sleep. People would fall asleep shortly after sunset, sleep for about 4 hours, then wake up. Not in panic, not in stress, but in calm awareness. For 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night, they existed in a quiet, almost meditative state. They would think, reflect, talk to others, interpret their dreams while they were still fresh. Some would even create, write, plan, imagine. Then, naturally, they would fall back asleep again for a second phase of rest until dawn. This wasn't insomnia. This wasn't broken sleep. This was normal. It was how humans lived for thousands of years. And then, we erased it. Not because our biology changed, but because our world did. As cities grew and technology advanced, humans began to push back against the night. First with fire, then candles, then gas lamps, and finally, electric light. For the first time in history, darkness was no longer in control. We were. Night became optional, and with that shift, something deeper began to break. Because your body doesn't understand electricity, it understands light the same way it always has. When light hits your eyes at night, your brain doesn't think, "this is a screen." It thinks the sun is still up, and that one misunderstanding changes everything. Inside your body right now is a system more precise than any clock ever built. It's called your circadian rhythm. And it doesn't just exist in your brain, it exists everywhere. Your heart has a clock, your liver has a clock, your gut, your hormones, your cells. Each one follows its own timing, all synchronized through light and darkness. This system is so fundamental to life that the scientists who uncovered its mechanisms were awarded the Nobel Prize. That's how deep this goes. But here's the problem. Modern life doesn't care about your rhythm, it cares about schedules. So instead of aligning your life with your biology, you're expected to align your biology with the clock on the wall. And that's where the friction begins. Because when your alarm goes off in the morning, something strange can happen inside you. Your brain wakes up, but your body doesn't fully follow. Some of your internal systems are still operating on night mode. Your hormones aren't ready, your metabolism isn't ready. Even your core temperature might still be in its lowest state. This internal mismatch has a name: social jet lag. It's the feeling of being out of sync with your own biology, like traveling across time zones without ever leaving your bed. And you felt it. That heavy, dragging sensation when you wake up too early, that mental fog that coffee barely touches, that strange feeling like you've been pulled out of something deeper than sleep. That's not weakness, it's not laziness, it's misalignment. Now, here's where this gets even more interesting. Not everyone's internal clock is set the same way. Some people naturally feel alert earlier, others peak later in the day or even at night. We call them morning people and night owls, but this isn't just a personality trait, it's biological, and it likely goes back to our earliest ancestors. Because in a world filled with predators and danger, sleeping at the exact same time would have been risky. So humans evolved with variation. Some stayed up later, some woke up earlier. As a group, someone was almost always awake, watching, protecting. Different sleep patterns weren't a flaw, they were a survival advantage, a built-in system that kept the group alive. But when the industrial age arrived, that diversity became a problem. Factories didn't care about your internal rhythm. They needed workers who showed up at the same time every time. So humans did something radical. They standardized time. They compressed sleep into a single block. They extended light deep into the night. And they introduced a new idea, that the right way to live was to wake up early. For some people, that works. For others, it creates constant tension beneath the surface. Because forcing a night-oriented system into an early schedule isn't optimization, it's resistance. And over time, that resistance adds up. Here's what most people never stop to consider. You don't need more discipline, you might need better alignment. Because real performance, real clarity, creativity, energy doesn't come from forcing yourself into someone else's rhythm. It comes from understanding your own, from noticing when your mind is sharp, when your energy naturally rises, when your focus feels effortless. That's your real schedule, not the one set by an alarm, the one written into you. So this doesn't mean you should never wake up early. It means you should stop assuming that early always equals better, because for some people it does, and for others, it comes at a cost they've been taught to ignore. We didn't just invent the alarm clock, we reshaped the human day. We turned night into an extension of work. We replaced natural cycles with artificial ones. And in the process, we lost something quiet but powerful, a rhythm that once guided every human on Earth. So tonight, when you set your alarm for tomorrow morning, pause for a second and ask yourself one question. Are you waking up with your biology or against it?